Does Liquor.com know what they're talking about when it comes to bourbons? Let's find out. What's going on, everybody? Nathan here with the Everyday Drinker, bringing you guys my critique on Liquor.com's top 12 bourbons of 2022. Let's get right on into it. But before we do, I just want to thank you guys so much for the love and support. We are crushing it with the subscribers. We might not hit that 2,000 mark by Christmas, but I have a little glimmer of hope, a little shining star up above that Santa might be able to bring us 2,000 subscribers by Christmas. So that is only up to you guys. And if you guys want your chance to win a bottle of Eagle Rare, make sure you guys are dropping that subscribe. But without further ado, let's get into bottle number 1. The best overall bourbon that Liquor.com chose was Henry McKenna 10-year. Now that is a fantastic choice, but I have one that is just a little bit better. Wild Turkey Rare Breed, bottled at 116.8 proof and sitting well all over the place, and I think it's just a little bit better than the Henry McKenna 10-year. Henry McKenna 10-year is one of those bottles that some people love it, some people hate it, only because they get bad bottles, and I have been lucky enough to get good bottles, but I have never heard of anybody hating Wild Turkey Rare Breed. Sitting at 116.8 proof, barrel proof. Every single bottle is absolutely fantastic, and it is most of the time a little bit cheaper than a Henry McKenna 10-year. Next, they had their best value bourbon, and they chose Maker's Mark. Now, Maker's Mark is a good bottle. It really, really is. Under $30, you just cannot beat it for a nice wheated bourbon for somebody that is just getting into the bourbon game. But I think, like I just said about the Wild Turkey Rare Breed, there's one that is a little bit better, and it's in the same family as the Wild Turkey Rare Breed. You want to know what it is? Wild Turkey 101. Sitting at 101 proof, a lot higher proof than the Maker's Mark, and I think it's actually a couple bucks cheaper. Just can't beat it for the price and the proof and the fantastic juice. That rhymed. That really, oh my, wow. All right, but back to the bourbon. This is absolutely fantastic. It's one of my absolute favorites to mix. It's one of my absolute favorites to get somebody into those higher proof bourbons without going too crazy in price, and it holds up. It really, really does. I don't think it drinks at that 101 proof. It drinks closer to like 95, 96 in my opinion, but with any kind of dilution in cocktails, this is one that is really, really good, but it's not my favorite, according to the list in a little bit, but it's darn good stuff that you just can't beat. Next up, they had their favorite sipper, and they chose a good one. They really, really did, but it's a little expensive in my opinion, and they went with Widow Jane 10-year. Now, it's a good pour. It really, really is. But I think there's one that's just a little bit better. It's around the same price point in some places, but the proof point is a little bit higher, and I absolutely love it. It's one that I found out a couple of months ago. That goes to Baker's 7 Single Barrel. You just cannot pass these up. They're absolute fantastic. It says 7 years, but if you read inside the 7-year, it says minimum. So this one that I have right here, like I've said before, is 8 years and 1 month. I did just see one on the shelf the other day, 8 years and 3 months. So it's a little bit older than this guy. I do recommend picking up the 8-year, around 8 years. If you get like a 7-year, 11 month, 7-year, 10 month, and 8-year and above, I do find them to be a little bit better, because I did have a taste of one that was at that 7-year mark and nothing older than that, and it was a little bit thin on the finish, but the flavors were still there, but the finish wasn't as long as these that are hitting that 8-year mark. Next up, they had their best for cocktails, and this one really made me laugh. This one was absolutely hysterical. They went with Michters Bourbon. Now, it's a good one. It really is. It's expensive, but it's also low in the proof. And I just thought that in cocktails, you want something that holds up to that dilution. So what do we do? Where do we go when we want to hold up to the dilution? We go higher proof. And with that higher proof, we're not going super high, but we're going to 100 proof. We're going 16 points, I believe, higher than the Michters Bourbon to the Old Forester 100 proof just bourbon. This is a fantastic staple on my shelf, under $30. Stands up to any kind of dilution that you throw at it. You can shake it, you can stir it, you can drink it neat. You can throw a gallon of water in this bottle and it'll still taste like Old Forester 100 proof. Next, they had their best under $50. And I'll give it to them. They chose a good one. They really, really did. They went with Four Roses Single Barrel. Now, I'm not the biggest Four Roses fan because of how diverse and different all of them can be. They have like 10 different mash bills, and I don't know out of the OSV, OSBV, which one I like the best. So I changed it up a little bit, and I went with Evan Williams 1783. I dropped the price on this from $50 all the way down to, I believe, $23 is how you can find these bottles most of the time. Some people might be able to find them for under $20, but for a 90 proof bourbon and under $50, it is one of my absolute go-tos now. It is absolutely fantastic, and you can find this on every single shelf. And this one really made me laugh. I actually did laugh out loud a little bit. They're best under 100. And they chose a good one, but it's not the best whatsoever. They went with Noah's Mill, and that is a Willett family style bourbon, and it's good. It's good, but there are so many options that you can go for under $100, and this is the one that I went. Barrel Vantage. It's $79 to $84 most places, and this is batch 1. They do have batch 2 out now. I'm not quite sure what batch 2 tastes like, but it is a triple finished. It is bourbons finished in Mizunor, which is Japanese oak, French oak, and American oak, and then blended back together to come out with this beautiful juice that just smiles back. It's just so good. I absolutely love it, and I know a lot of people love it as well. I do know a couple of people that don't like it as much because of the Dickel influence that you get in it, but I think the finishes that come from those barrels overpower the Dickel finish in my opinion, and that's why I absolutely love this bottle, and I will stand by it and say it's a darn good bottle. Next up, they had their best barrel proof, and they chose a good one. I'll tell you that. They really, really did. They went with Elijah Craig barrel proofs, and I know that the Elijah Craig barrel proofs have been getting better and better and better every single year, but there is one that has been getting better and better and better every single year, and that is the Heaven Hill wheated bourbon compared to their rye style bourbon, which is the Elijah Craig. Can you guess it? Can you guess it? I think you did. We are going with Larceny barrel proof, and you guys know how much I love this. I just did the blind with all 3 of them. The C922 came out on top, but let me tell you, all 3 of them that came out this year were top-notch bottles of bourbon, and I think that if you can find any of them for under that $70 mark, I wouldn't go any more than $75, guys. I really wouldn't, but under that $70, $75 mark, make sure you snag one of these and put these on your shelf because they are darn good bottles of juice. Next up, they had their best wheated bourbon, and I can't go right back to the Larceny barrel proofs because that's contradictory. That's not contradictory, it's just I wouldn't do it because they didn't do it. So they went with Wyoming Whiskey Company as their best wheated, and it's a good one. It really, really is, but I think there is another W wheated bourbon that's better, and that goes to Wilderness Trail. Now, this is one of my first bottles that I ever picked up. It's probably within the top, the first 20 bottles that I had put on my bar cart when I first started collecting bourbons. It's one that I really, really wanted because I heard it was comparable to the Weller Antique 107, and I think it really, really is. The flavor profiles are a little bit different. It's a couple of proof points lower, sitting at 100 proof. This is bottled in bond. They are finished in toasted barrels, which is another really cool staple because you do get a really, really nice toasted marshmallow out of this that I absolutely love, but it does have a touch of a funk, which is actually really interesting, and I enjoy it a little bit, but that is my go-to wheated bourbon right now. Next up, they went with their best estate, and they chose Frey Ranch. And I'm not going to change this one whatsoever because Frey Ranch does absolutely amazing things over there. They grow all their own grains. They distill it right there. They bottle it right there. That is absolutely fantastic. The only gripe I have about Frey Ranch is that they aren't all over the freaking country. I can't get it here in New Jersey. One day, hopefully I will, but I'm not changing that one because that is a darn good choice by Liquor.com. Next, they went with their best eco-friendly, and they chose Redwood Empire. It's a darn good choice. It really, really is. But there is one that is leaps and bounds, miles, and what am I looking for? Universe is better. And that goes to Yellowstone Bourbon. bourbon. Now, what Yellowstone does is every bottle that is purchased, they donate $1 to environmental causes, such as the Environmental Act, where they give money towards national parks and stuff like that, recreational uses and stuff. So that is, in my opinion, just a fantastic cause that they do, and I really appreciate what Yellowstone does. Me being a hunter, fisher, hiker, I love everything outdoors, and to be able to preserve everything out there and make sure that everything is safe and not getting poached and just illegally killed and chopping down trees for no reason. That, in my opinion, is just a fantastic thing, and I appreciate everything Yellowstone Bourbon does. But moving on to their best Tennessee whiskey. They went with Heaven's Door. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a good choice, but there's one that is better. It's not going to be George Dickel, and it's not going to be Jack Daniels. It's going to be Blue Note, Juke Joint, Uncut, Unfiltered. Now, I know that this is sourced whiskey, sometimes from Kentucky, but most of the time it is from Tennessee. It is bottled in Tennessee, so I am considering this a Tennessee whiskey, and that's why I'm choosing it to go on my to contradict their choice of Heaven's Door. It's darn good stuff. These barrel picks, these barrel proof bottles by Blue Note are just so good. If you want pancakes and maple syrup in a bottle, you're gonna pick one of these up, and I hope you guys do. And I know that it is not distributed all around the country, but it is growing. If you go on Blue Note's site, they show a map on what states it's in, and it's growing every month. They are distributing more and more throughout the country, so hopefully it hits your state soon if it hasn't already. Finally, they went with the best Kentucky bourbon. Can you take a guess on what they chose? It's a good one. It really is. It's low proof, it's lower in price, and it's not bad. It really isn't, but you can't find it in stores anymore. Liquor.com, you cannot find Evan Williams single barrel anymore because it is distillery release only. Now, you might get lucky and find a store that had a case or two, or just nobody walks into that store anymore, and you might find one on the shelf. But moving forward, you won't. So, I'm sorry I had to do it, but my best Kentucky bourbon goes to Buffalo Trace. It's good. It really is. There's nothing wrong with this bottle other than in some states it's allocated and you just can't find it. And some stores do not mark up the price. But you can't not say that the bourbon inside the bottle is not just a quintessential bourbon. You really cannot. For the price, it's a fantastic mixer. For the price, it's a fantastic sipper. For the price, it's a fantastic gift. You just cannot go wrong with Buffalo Trace bourbon. And you can't knock it for it. You really can't knock the juice inside the bottle. That's just my opinion. So there you guys have it. That is my critique on Liquor.com's top 12 bourbons of 2022 with bottles that I had going up against it. Now, those might not be the same bottles that I have as my best of the year 2022. You guys just got to wait and see what that video has in store. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know down in the comments below what you would substitute for their bottles and my bottles as the top 12 going from those categories. Until next time, this has been Nathan with the Everyday Drinker. Cheers.